this month I read a shit ton of books. I read 24 books and over 6,000 pages, I think almost 7,000. Now, there were 2 readathons this month, the biannual bibliothon and the reading rush, so that contributed to it. But anyways, let's get started. The first book I read is The Stretched Shadow of Love by Matthias Malzieu. I read The Mechanics of the Heart by this author like a couple years ago, and I completely hated that book. But this one was about a boy whose mother died, and in him dealing with his grief, a monster comes to him and kind of helps him deal with it. It was okay. It wasn't as terrible as the other one, but it wasn't a favorite read either. I gave it 3 stars. The next book I read was Alberto's Lost Birthday by Diana Rossi. And this book is about a man who was a kid in the Civil War. He ended up in an orphanage, and he doesn't know who his parents are, who his family are, or even when his birthday is. So when his son-in-law goes to the hospital and his daughter asks him to be his grandchild, and both of them set off to discover all of these things that he doesn't know. I love this book. It made me cry. It was amazing. Gave 5 out of 5 stars. And it is set in Spain, so it's very interesting, and I really recommend this book. The next book I read is Contracorriente by Maya R. Ayamonte, and she was my favorite Spanish booktuber. And this book is her 3rd or 4th book, and it is about a girl, it is about a bisexual girl, and she goes to her hometown for the summer and meets a girl, and things flower from that. I really like this actually. I'm not a huge fan of LGBTQ plus books, but this one I really quite liked. I think I gave it 3 stars. The next 5 books are different like poem collections from the same authors. First I have Casi Sin Querer by the Freds. Now, I read this book about 5 years ago, and I absolutely loved it at the time because I just started going out with my current boyfriend. I was just in my field, and this made me really feel a lot. So yeah, I loved this book, 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read of his was Cuando Abras el Paracaídas, and this one I liked also a lot. I gave 4 stars. It wasn't my favorite, but I really liked it. The 3rd book of his I read is 1775 Calles. This one I gave 4 stars to, I believe, or maybe 3. I also really liked this one. Now, the last 2 of his that I own, he has 2 more out that I do not own, I didn't like as much as his first 3. Now, this one is Historias de un náufrago en Poco Bianco, and this one I think gave 3 stars because I really did not like it that much. It was also a lot shorter, but I don't know, maybe I just didn't feel the same way with these. But yeah, this one is Con un cassette y con un bolivic, and basically the same thing. Didn't like it as much as the previous ones, 3 stars. But I still recommend all of his books because he does really write beautifully. Next book I read is Love is a Number by Lee Monroe. Now, this book is about a girl whose boyfriend dies, and she's kind of like dealing with that, but at the same time she discovers things about her perfect life that she didn't know were true, and now she doesn't have that perfect life. And and the other perspective in this book is from Daniel. He's an English boy who was in Spain for the holidays with his friends, and he ends up with the phone of Eloise's dead boyfriend. So his surprise when it starts ringing is huge. I really like this book. This author's other series, the Dark Heart series, which is a paranormal romance, is one of my favorite series ever. So I really wanted to try another book of hers. And this one is contemporary, so I was very interested in how she would do it. And I really like this book. Really recommend it if you like contemporary. It's very fluffy, quite light, but also quite deep at the same time. This book I read is Dear Lupin, Letters to a Wayward Son by Roger Mortimer and Charlie Mortimer. This book is like a memoir. It's a series of letters that a father sent to his son during his lifetime, and his son was a big troublemaker. He didn't do anything correctly and didn't have a huge relationship with his father until his father died, and then he decided to write this book, and I liked it, but I think it's just like in every letter there were so many elements that didn't need to be there, that even though this is a very short book, it wasn't easy to read, and also it didn't really talk about anything. It just talked about everything and nothing at all. But I still give it 3 stars. I liked the letter element, but there wasn't any actual substantiability to it. I invented that word. There wasn't anything substantial to it. Now, starting with the biannual bibliothon My 2 wrap-ups of the Biannual Bulletin and the Reading Rush are already up, but I will quickly include these books here just so you know I read them. I have Rogue's Daughter by Robin McKinley. I preferred Robin McKinley's Beauty and Beast retelling. The other one, this was 3 stars. It was okay, but I hated the fact it was a mass market paperback and super hard to read. Next, I read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, the Amazon edition by Lewis Carroll. Wasn't my favorite. I prefer the movie so much more. 3 stars. I read another copy of Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll to see if it was any different. It wasn't, but it had pretty illustrations, so I don't know if I'll keep this one or not. It depends. 3 stars like the previous story. Next, I read Vanishing Girls by Lauren Oliver. I really liked this book. It started amazing, the middle was amazing. It's a kind of psychological thriller, by the way, but the ending was so confusing. Like, when the main plot twist happened, I didn't even understand how to put it in the story because it made no sense, and it's just kind of like, it was not the outcome I was expecting, but it was a confusing one, and I wasn't able to really put it in the story well, so I didn't end up liking that much. That's the only reason I gave it 4 stars. It would have 5 stars. I really like this. By the way, I'm not giving any synopsis for the readathon books because I already did that in my wrap-up, so if you're interested in that, please look at my wrap-up. Next book I read is Satisfaction by Thea Devine. Now, this book, I expected to be a smutty romance, but very smutty and very crap. It wasn't all that bad. I didn't get 3 or 4 stars. There was only one character who I really hated, but the rest was really good. It was a very nice mystery. The next book I read was We Are All Completely Beside Ourselves by Karen Joy Fowler. And this book, again, it happened with Vanishing Girls. It was a really nice story until the main plot twist happened, and then I was like, what? Why? For what? This doesn't make any sense. Why would you do this? I guess if I was actually expecting that, I would have liked the book more, but just I was not expecting it, and when it happened, it didn't make sense. So that's another book that kind of went down because of that. I couldn't give it 3 or 4 stars. Next, I read Our Chemical Hearts by Crystal Sutherland. Now, I love this book so much. It was such a cute, fluffy romance. On the back, it says John Green meets Rainbow Rowell, and 100% correct. I love this story, and another thing I absolutely adored about it is the fact that it is written in text messages. Not all of it, obviously, but a little bit. I really appreciated that. 5 stars, by the way. In between the biannual Bibliothon and the Reading Rush readathon, I read Ketchup Clouds by Annabelle Pitcher in between, I think, 2 or 3 days that happened between those. And this book was about a girl who has a secret. Something terrible happened the year before, and she feels so much guilt that she starts writing to this person in Texas who is on death row, and she kind of tells him what happened through letters. The whole book is told in letters. Oh, look, that's really pretty. The whole book is told in letters, which is really nice, and I really appreciated it. The only thing that I didn't like is that sometimes Zoe seemed like a child instead of a teenager, which is what she is. And I also didn't really like the love triangle. I didn't like the other characters. I liked Aaron, but Max was such a little bitch, and that's the reason I didn't feel bad for what happened to him. Yeah, but anyways, I think the 4 stars I gave this. For the Reading Rush, I read Room by Emma Donoghue, 3 stars, just anticlimactic for me. Didn't understand the structure of it. I read 3 Amazing Things About You, which I loved so much. This book was amazing. Highly recommended. Fluffy contemporary, 3 different perspectives that tie in at the end beautifully. Amazing. I have not been disappointed yet by a Jill Manson book. Next, I read The Wedding Girl by Sophie Kinsella, writing as Madeleine Wickham. Another great contemporary. Love this. Amazing. Sophie Kinsella never disappoints me either. Then I read The Guest List by Melissa Hill, and this book is another contemporary about a wedding, and it has a huge plot twist at the end that I wasn't expecting, so I really liked it. By the way, 5 stars. 5 stars. This had 4 stars. Then I read the short story collection of Vampires and Werewolves by a series of authors, and I liked a few of these, but the others were pretty dull, so I ended up just giving it 3 stars as an average. I do recommend this if you're into vampires and werewolves, though. And last but not least, I read Geronimo Stilton, the issue number 20, because I needed a short book to read in the same spot the entire time, so It was good. Children's book, 3 stars. Anyways, please comment down below how you guys did this month, and please also like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.